I don't know, a little bit of like the customer's always right, which is like kind of the nice way to look at it. The other way is just like
the customer is not always right.
Fuck this shit, dude. The customer's always an idiot
wrong.
sometimes.
The customer was almost always wrong.
Hello and welcome to Whipped Cream Salmon, the podcast where we talk about all things food, friends, and fuckery. My name is Brian Masanza. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Ronnie Sanchez. And today we have a very special guest, Culinary Institute of America grad, former sous chef 22 Bistro, sous chef Ritz-Carlton, executive chef Plumpjack, currently the head chef of Shady Side, West Shore of Lake Tahoe, an amazing culinary mind, but most importantly, I know him as the captain of my pirate ship, and I'm lucky enough to call him one of my best friends, a man who certainly knows a thing or two about fuckery, Chef Jack Connell. Welcome to the pod.
Give him a warm round.
Let's give him a round of applause.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I'm stoked to be here.
Oh, yeah.
Stoked to have you, buddy.
Yeah, that's I miss you guys. Can you just come back and work for me, please?
I miss you too. I mean, dude, since like we started talking about the pod, like we've been really excited to have you on. Like, I think like you're probably the first person that popped in both of our minds. That would be a great guest. And yeah, I mean, it's been super fun for Ronnie and I to do this and like bring up old things that like I forgot about, stuff that maybe Ronnie forgot about. And like, it's just been like, you know, really fun and funny, but also like therapeutic at times, and it's just been like a fun thing for us to do. And yeah, we're super happy to have you on.
Yeah, we're really excited to see what kind of memories you reignite that maybe we've forgotten about too.
Sure.
You know, because as we dig into this, there's new things that pop up all the time.
Yeah.
Some of them I try to block out of my head.
Some of them I have.
That's fair. Some of them I buried deep down inside to never uncover, you know?
That's what my dad told me to do.
We should kick this thing off with a cheers, huh?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's go ahead and crack these babies.
Jack, I always bring my lunchbox. Nice.
Yeah, Brian's got his cooler as always. I got a really funny beer today. It's a dill pickle lager. It's called Pickeltown.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's a collaboration between Deep River Brewing and R&R Brewing here in North Carolina.
Ooh.
That's interesting.
Check out that bad, Larry. Looks like a can of pickles. And it tastes like a dill pickle.
What are you drinking, Jack?
I don't really drink beer that much anymore. I just like I'm like old now and it like fucks my belly up. So I drink kombucha mostly. So I'm drinking a Booch Craft ginger lime.
Oh, nice.
So it's like me in Mexico, like ginger with a hint of lime.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
You know.
Where's that from?
That sounds good.
Booch Craft. I don't know. Where's that? Oregon?
Nice.
I don't know. It makes my belly feel good.
Hell yeah.
Chula Vista, California.
It's the Probos. Makes you feel good.
I don't know where that is.
It's Southern California. It's basically Mexico. It's as south in San Diego as you can get. We used to play against Chula Vista High School.
It sounds like Mexico.
Yeah, from their lacrosse field you can see Tijuana.
It sounds like Cholo Vista.
It pretty much is. You're not far off.
Dude, we went to a fucking like Asian hibachi in Reno one time, and like whoever I was with was like asking the chef like where they were from, like kind of looked like Japanese or whatever, and like chef coded it all out, and they were like, oh, like south of Japan. And we're like, what do you mean south of Japan? He's like, oh, like the deep south. And like eventually, like after we asked him like 6 times, he was like, you know, Mexico. This is a Mexican dude. I'm drinking the cookie butter beer. I don't know how to say this word. How do you say that?
Well, it's backwards.
Speculoos.
Is that a fucking? I don't know. I feel like that's like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's Imperial Golden Ale with toasted coconut, vanilla bean, and natural flavor. And it's from, I don't know, dude. I never know where they're from. Virginia, Richmand. Close. Keeping it local.
Have you guys ever had that cookie butter stuff? The Biscoff cookie butter?
Yeah, that sounds good.
It's like crack, dude. It's insane.
No.
It's really good.
What is it?
It's Biscoff brand cookie butter, and it like basically tastes like liquefied cookie, or like not liquefied, like peanut butter spread cookie. Oh shit!
Butterfied.
Shit, I got it. Do you hear that?
No.
Whoop, whoop. Jack's getting arrested live on the pod. This is so exciting.
You getting raided right now?
I don't know. No, I live 2 blocks from the hospital, so all of the medevacs like land, or they fly right over my house and land like right next to me.
Gotcha.
Oh, really? So chopper just flew over?
Yeah, and it's also we have a bunch of fires around, so like the helicopters are coming from Truckee Airport, which is also not far away, and fly over my shit.
Dude, speaking of fires, the other day, Rochelle and I stepped out for dinner. We were probably only gone for like an hour and a half. Come back, and there's 2 fire trucks like right outside of my my house. I live in a townhouse. I have a unit on either side of us, and we've seen like a lot of ambulances here recently. I think like one of the neighbors down the way, he's elderly, and there's been a lot of like ambulance activity. So initially, that's what we thought it was. And then we see all these like hoses and stuff like running down the steps like right by our house. I was like, oh shit. Like, and my dog was in here, and I run down, and they were in my next door neighbor's place. And I guess she was like frying up okra or some shit, and she lit the kitchen on fire.
Dude, that is the most southern thing I've ever heard in my life.
Of course it was fucking okra. That's so good.
Yeah, but she fucking lit her kitchen on fire, and thankfully they had a fire extinguisher, and they put it out before the firefighters even got here. But man, super scary to come home to. Like, my poor dog was freaking out inside.
That's crazy, dude. When you're in town, like, I mean, there must be a firewall between the 2 units and everything?
Sure, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we have like big old like it's like a brick wall that's like between our units. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I can hear them walking up and down the stairs, so I'm guessing there's not a brick wall in between us.
Do you know their names by when they call out during the middle of coitus?
No, thankfully I don't hear them speaking.
Harry,
I could just...
Harry, right there, Harry.
That's my spot. You know my spot. No, that's like a New York Jewish mother. It's not very southern.
It's okay. It's a melting pot down here, buddy. You know it. What have we been cooking this week, Ronnie? What you been working with?
So I've been getting after it. I smoked up some like Korean style country ribs that were fucking really good. Served those up with kimchi and like a quick pickle, cucumber, and rice. And then the next day I had some leftover, and I made ramen. I made it like a miso ramen. Dude, I've had these chicken carcasses in the freezer for like way too long. And I keep saying that I'm going to do something with them, and I just haven't. And so I finally made a broth with those, made a miso broth, and then used the leftover pork, seared them up in a cast iron. And then, dude, I sent you the picture of the corn and the miso butter.
Yeah.
It was so simple. Miso, butter, corn, scallions. It was like one of the most intensely delicious things.
Fuck yeah.
It was so fucking good.
Hell
yeah.
It
was ridiculous. Yeah. That really, really hit home.
Hell yeah.
And then last night I fucking fired up some drunken noodles, dude.
That looked great too, yeah.
You know that chef Jet Tila?
Jet Tila? No.
If you saw a picture of him, you would definitely recognize him. He's been on like fucking every Food Network thing. And but he has a really great drunken noodle recipe that I watched like a million times over every time I fucking make it. Yeah, he pretty much, well, according to him at least, I haven't done the research on it, but I believe him. He claims to have like made drunken noodles like famous in Vegas or whatever, but I don't know.
What are those? What are they like? They're like similar to the pho noodles or rice noodles, and then do you like soak them like you do like pho noodles? You like soak them like
Drunken noodles are thicker noodles. They're like they're like that thick, like inch wide noodles. Like pad CU is the same noodle that they use.
yeah, I know the look.
Yeah.
I just don't know like the composition or cooking technique with them.
Yeah, they're tricky to like learn how to work with because in the videos they're always like, oh yeah, use the fresh rice noodles. And then the ones that I find, I don't know how to fucking use them because you get them out of the package, you try to like unravel them and they just like crumble. Or I mean, I probably just can't get good ones anywhere that I've looked, even though we have an H Mart. I mean, that's like a fucking legit Asian grocery store.
What's H Mart stand for?
I don't know.
Hibachi.
Hibachi, yeah.
Your best guess? Yeah.
It's like it's basically
they're big.
like an Asian Whole Foods. It's fucking
Hanoi.
It's legit. I don't know because it's a Korean market, so I really don't.
Houston.
It's really stuck on this H.
I don't know. I just think of things that like H. Like
I've had this thought like stoned on the couch, like what the fuck is that H for, dude?
Dude, but you can never trust the directions on any like Asian packaging. Like it'll say like soak in water for like 15 minutes. Dude, you need to soak that motherfucker for like an hour and a half before they are usable.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've tried so many different ways, and it's just like you just put them in room temperature water, and you like pretty much forget about them until you're hungry, and hopefully you weren't hungry too soon. Because
and then you just dip, you just quick dip them. Is that the thing? Like so?
No, you just pull them out. You pull them out and you throw them in the hot wok. And then it's really like your whatever sauce, like your cooking liquid, is what like actually cooks them.
Gotcha.
Because they're still like if you pull them out and like taste them, they're still fucking raw. They're like very raw.
Gotcha. Yeah. So like with the pho noodles, it was like same thing. Like they're smaller and thinner, but like soak them for like 45 minutes, and then for the pho at least because it's like you build the dish and then you're just pouring hot broth over it, right? So then it's just like dip these in hot water real quick just to build the plate, but like you never actually really like cook them other than dipping them for like 15 seconds or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Do you soak them in hot water or just like reg
yeah, like room temperature water?
The wide rice, just regular room temp water.
Yeah.
So like when we've done like udon and stuff like that, like you gotta do it in like tea water, like and like even like change it out to like get some of the starch off them. But
yeah, udon noodles are super, super starchy.
Is that rice?
No.
Udon is what is udon? I don't know. There's flour in it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's wheat flour.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Jack. What have you been cooking? I mean, you're still at the restaurant. You're slanging stuff. I mean, anything you want to talk about, either there or just like stuff at the house or whatever. I mean, or places you gone to eat or anything like that.
Yeah, like this weekend, I haven't really cooked anything. I was kind of lazy and I just got paid, so I kind of went out and just didn't do shit.
Hell yeah.
But last week I went to Costco with my lady, and Costco controls the price of meat in the United States. I don't know if you guys know that. They're the largest buyer of meat in the United States, so the meat prices are based off of what they pay.
I didn't, but it makes sense.
And everybody else pays a little bit more because they buy the most.
Crazy.
But I bought like 2 racks of ribs for $20, and I threw them on my pellet smoker, and I fucking love my pellet smoker. It's like the greatest thing ever. You just fucking dump the pellets in it, set it, and forget it. Like you can't forget it, but like what I set a timer for every like 45 minutes, and I go like baste and fucking spritz and move them around, and but yeah, like fucking done deal. Like they're perfect every time.
That's awesome,
dude. I'm glad that I'm like earning my stripes with like my offset smoker and like actually learning how to do it the right way. But man, when the fucking timer is like going off every 5 minutes and I'm like going in and out, like trying to adjust the heat, and then it's like, you know, you're trying to keep it in a range, all of a sudden it's like fucking spiking, and then I gotta open the thing and try to like spread out my coals and then close it, and then it's like too cold. Yeah, there's definitely times where I'm like, man, I wish I just had a fucking Traeger and I could not worry about this right now.
There's a thing that my favorite thermometer company makes. It's called the ThermoWorks. It's called the Bellows, and you like plug it. You like drill a hole in your grill or whatever, and you plug it in there, and it's got a thermometer that goes inside.
That's dope.
And then it has a fan on it, and it will blow on your coals and like raise your temp for you, based on the temp that you set it at.
That's awesome. I've heard of that. I wasn't quite sure how it worked, but that sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, because like if you're doing that, like obviously you're having to like constantly adjust, and that would be just like that'd be like making your thing a Traeger.
It's pretty cool.
Like without actually owning a Traeger.
That's pretty sweet.
I thought about doing that before I got my free Traeger because I'm an addict.
Addicted to smoking?
No, it's Zenicinos, baby. Fucking, I got 11,680 points, and I got a free Traeger out of it.
Oh, you really did? From Zen?
Zen points.
Yeah, a year and a half, or a year and 4 months I saved up, and I got a free Traeger out of it.
That's amazing.
That's so awesome.
How many tins was that?
I don't know, like 700 and something.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I
Do you like double packing and like triple packing and shit? Or what?
No, I didn't do it all on my own. Like a lot of people that at PJ's, like, they're all addicts too, and they weren't counting their points, so they just gave them to me. So I maxed out. You could do 60 a month, which is 900 points a month, and there was like a couple months where they would do double points and blah blah blah. But yeah, it was a pain in the dick.
Are Zins the thing now? Are cooks not smoking cigarettes anymore?
Dude, less and less and less people are smoking cigarettes. Like when I see people smoking cigarettes, I'm like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? Like, I have like,
it's good, it's great.
One cook that smokes, and that's it. But I also work in a completely Latin kitchen now.
What's the food like over there? I mean,
Mexican.
Yeah.
I would say it's Cal-Mex.
Okay.
It's like quesadilla. It's basically like Chipotle. Like we do bowls, burritos, tacos, and quesadillas, and then we have nachos and some other random shit. Like we have elote. I put like a soup on. I put a salad on. They're all like Mexican inspired, but not necessarily Mexican. I took over after it had been open for 6 months, and I was like, you guys don't have a complete menu. You don't have a salad. You don't have very many vegetable options. You don't have a fucking soup. Like, you guys got to like round this out. And so that's kind of what I did. And then,
especially in Tahoe, where it's like, dude, you like need to appeal to those fucking yoga moms. Like
100%. They want to eat something healthy. Like they didn't have a salad, dude. It was like the richest, heaviest menu when I came in there, and I was like, yo, like, it's about to be summer, like bikini weather. People don't want to eat like queso fundido and carnitas, like
trash can nachos. Yeah.
I mean, I do, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do too, but like only on certain times, like when I'm sweating my dick off, I don't want to eat something heavy like that. I might want a salad,
Sure.
But yeah, it's been I'm kind of on pause and waiting until we get through summer before I make any more adjustments, because it's been gnarly. We did
with the menu, you mean?
Yeah, we did almost 900 covers on Saturday.
God damn. Where is it at?
And
dude, it's crazy.
And you should see the kitchen is so small. It's tiny. We don't even.
What's it compare to? That like how much of the main kitchen of Plum Shack would it be?
The bar station plus like the first part of the saute part of the DR station, and that includes the dish area.
Oh boy.
Oh god damn.
Yeah.
The dish pit is just a glass dishwasher. It's not a real dishwasher. It's meant for glasses for a bar.
I mean, what are we talking about? Like 400 square feet, like 600 square feet, something like that. Like
not even. Like the downstairs of my house is like $350, and it's like half that, $175 maybe.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a food
that is
truck. Like, I
ridiculous.
mean, maybe a little bigger, but
Yeah.
with a dish pit. So
Yeah, like I'll have 3 guys on the line and a dishwasher, and then me prepping, well, not really prepping, like oh shit / expoing, like putting out fires, expoing. And there's always a fire to be put out because it's like we only have enough space to prep so much. Like almost everything has tortilla chips on it, and we are making tortilla chips 100% of the time.
yeah, I mean, it's the name of the game with the Mexican shit, dude. We had I don't know if I've mentioned this on the pod, but when I was at Azul, dude, we had this kid who was 15 years old, high school. He'd just come in, 7 a.m. He would just fry chips until 4:30, and that was his entire job. Just like leaning over the fucking fryer all day, just frying chips. Take his half-hour break. All right, Carlos, back to frying chips. and we loved him for it, dude. And he was like, oh yeah, he was like a really good kid who fucking like, I don't know. He was happy to do it, I suppose, or at least like showed up every day and kept doing it. And it's those are the warriors that you need.
Fuck yeah.
On a different subject, I don't want to get too far off. Never mind. No, never mind. We'll talk about this later.
Go wherever you want.
Well, I was just gonna say, remember the guy that we used to work with that lived in the parking lot in the orange van?
Orange van.
I do remember that, but who is that? But don't say it. You can say it. I mean, we can clip it. Yeah, we'll cut it.
Wouldn't you guys work there together again, or?
I think so. He was like, we had a couple of people living in the parking lot at that point in time.
It's common, but
because they were well, it's way more common now.
Yeah, it is.
Remember?
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, I ran into him at the head shop the other day. I was getting a new bowl because mine broke, and I was like, "What's up, dude?" He's like, "Well, I survived my first attempted murder."
Whoa.
And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude." He's like, "I got in an argument with my roommate over rent money, and he's like, he wanted to throw down." And I was like, "Sure." I was like, "I'm ready to go to fisticuffs." And he pulls out a knife and stabs me in the chest.
Holy
and
shit! Oh my god!
And he pulls up his shirt, and he's got like a stitched up like wound, like an inch hole, like just underneath his left pectoral, which is like 3 millimeters from his heart. And he said if it hadn't happened in front of US Bank, which is like a block away from me, if it hadn't happened there, which would have been like next to the hospital, he would have bled out and died.
Holy fuck. That's not where I thought that story was gonna go. I thought it was about him frying up something else too. We're talking about frying.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I was just like, what? Like crazy.
Holy shit.
That was amazing. Yeah, more like that. Yeah, we like that.
He said he was like, yeah, I was like bleeding out in the ER, and this girl comes up to me and she's like, "Did you just work in the kitchen at Plump Jack?" And he's like, got blood all over his face. He's like, they're like giving him blood transfusions because he's like bleeding out. They're about to put him in a helicopter. He's like, yeah. I don't know who you are. Like, I'll see you later sometime.
Was it Kenna?
That's awesome.
Isn't she a nurse now?
No, she is. She works in Reno though.
God damn.
No, it was Mila.
I don't think I know her. Dude, that's fucking crazy.
Mila?
Yeah, you remember her, Brian? She used to work in the kitchen for a little bit, and then she went FOH.
Yeah, I do remember Mila. Where is she from?
She's from Serbia or something like that.
I don't know that I remember working with her as a cook. I definitely remember working with her as a server.
Yeah, she's like, she always seemed like she was angry.
Yeah, and it's just the like Eastern European accent a little bit, right? Or maybe a little anger too.
Yeah, she's like East. Yeah, she's like she's probably watched people get blown up like her whole life, and she's maybe traumatized.
Yeah.
Can I say that? Is that okay?
Say whatever you want.
Anywho, so sorry, that was just a weird story, but I was just thinking of it.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
So Brian, what have you been cooking?
So Jack, Sam and I do this country culinary challenge where like 1 week she'll decide what country's food I'm gonna cook, and then like the next week like I'll decide what country's food she's gonna cook. And I have a controversial one actually, because the country that she gave me to cook was Israel, and I decided to cook pork schnitzel. And I don't know if you know this, but the Jews and the pork, they don't go great together, you know? Yeah, I did like a, crispy pork schnitzel, cauliflower, couscous, some hummus, like a cherry tomato, cucumber, mint salad on top. And it turned out pretty good. And I did learn, because I was like trying to figure out, like I had some pork chops that were sitting in brine, and I was like, I really want to use these pork chops, but I know Israel, and like I know that they don't really like eat pork that much,
or at all.
I did like dive into it a little bit and like start to like read about it, and it seems like more and more Israeli chefs are actually serving pork on the menu than they used to. I think like,
oh really?
Yeah, the way that it sounded. I mean, I read like a couple articles that kind of led me in that direction, that were like, oh, like these like Israeli chefs are going to other places and coming back and starting to serve pork,
Well, so what I gather is like the reason why it was a thing was the first thing was because pork is a cloven hoof animal, and cloven hooves are what the devil is supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to like, have like
Yeah.
animal legs and have like horse, or not horse hooves, like
Right.
goat hooves, maybe. No, not
feel like that should be incentive to eat them, right?
And so but the real reason, and I may be wrong on this, but the real reason is because pork was the cause of like botulism and food poisoning back in the day, because of refrigeration and like improper butchering techniques, etc. So a lot of Jewish people don't really give a shit about that anymore.
Well, I mean, it's not. Is that the reason why it's not kosher? Is that what you're saying? Is because of
Correct.
Right.
Correct. But that doesn't like make any sense with shellfish. Like, why shellfish is the only thing with the shellfish could possibly be is because it's of the food poisoning element of it. Like, you eat improperly stored shellfish and you're gonna get sick and you could die from that.
And that's the devil at that point, right? Like you can start to associate like demons with those things.
Yeah, like, oh, you have the devil inside of you. You're throwing up. You're shitting your pants. Like maybe like you must be possessed by the devil, and then you die.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's just my guess, but
yeah, I mean, and so also like just about like Israeli cuisine is like, I started to learn pretty quickly that like Israeli cuisine itself is really just like a melting pot of a lot of different things, right? Like it's like Northern Africa, Eastern European, like Western Asia, like are all coming together in that area. And so a lot of those dishes are coming from these other places, and they don't like, I mean, they do now have a cuisine of their own, but it really is like mixes from these other cuisines. And that's what kind of makes their dishes, When I think of like Israeli food, I don't necessarily like, wouldn't always be like, oh, that's Israeli. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, that's like, could as easily be just Mediterranean or Moroccan or whatever, right?
I think I have a couple Israeli cookbooks, like this guy Yotam Ottolenghi, but maybe I'm wrong. He might be Lebanese.
That's the region, yeah.
It's a lot of vegetarian food, like big time vegetarian.
I believe that.
Maybe it is Lebanese because of that. I'm not sure, but I always like watch these YouTube videos on people that are like eating in the Middle East, and like it makes me like want to go there so bad. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of kebabs and shit. Always like some sort of flatbread, and then like a lot of spreads of different vegetables and shit, and you just slap it on there and
yogurty stuff, and yeah.
Tahini.
I think of like New York gyros, I like love that shit.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw you made pork schnitzel, I was really confused by the whole thing, and then so I did some research on it too, and I did not realize that it was like Jewish immigrants that like brought in schnitzel to Germany, and then I mean traditionally they did not make it with pork, but the Germans did, so they like took on the schnitzel and made it pork schnitzel.
Right. It would be more typical to find chicken schnitzel in Israel.
Correct. Yeah.
I believe than it would be to find pork schnitzel. Yeah.
I think schnitzel is actually technically veal, and they were like the ones that people got cheap on it and started substituting pork because veal is expensive.
I can see that.
That's my
Siri's tuning in.
Tell your girlfriend to go in the other room,
Siri,
dude.
you dumb bitch.
Well, actually,
no, I just remember like the Pfeiffer House here in Tahoe. Like they used to be one of the only places that actually served real schnitzel because it was real veal, whereas everyone else was using pork tenderloin to save money.
Is that place still open?
No, it's closed actually. I was hoping to this guy he was the original chef at Plump Jack. His name's Mark Sullivan. He is part of this group, Bacchus Group in San Francisco. They own 10 restaurants. 2 of them have 1 Michelin star. And his mom bought that restaurant for him, and it's been 3 years now. They've been gutting it and rebuilding it, and I think it might be his like retirement project because there's and I've been nurturing a relationship with him for a couple of years now to hopefully like work there when it opens, but it's taking way too long, and I waited too long to where I had to finally quit Plump Jack because I was like, I can't do this any longer. Like there's no I've been told 4 different opening dates, and we're not even on any of those yet. We're like way far. Like if you look at it, there's like 3 walls still standing, and they've been doing that for 3 years.
I know. Well, one of my old roommates, Woody. I mean, Brian, you know Woody.
Mm-hmm.
He worked at the Pfeiffer House, so it was like the husband and wife that owned the place. The husband had passed away, and Woody started working there like shortly thereafter, and they were going through like a lot of changes even then, because I guess the husband was the chef and kind of like was the glue of that place. But I went in there a couple times. It was fucking awesome in there. It was probably the only time I've ever had escargot was in there.
I've actually never been there. Nora worked there too.
Yeah, they worked there together, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I wish I'd been there. You get some spatzel there? You're selling some spatzel at PJ's?
Yeah, dude, they had this like badass wood fire like kiln oven that was like in the middle of the restaurant, if I remember correctly.
It's dope.
Super old.
Super dope.
Mm-hmm. And they also had like one of those like hatches behind the bar, you know, that like the bartender goes down underground for.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the ones that if you leave open, then all of a sudden somebody fucking breaks their fucking neck, and then you have a major lawsuit on your hands.
Yeah,
yeah,
that one. that's
I have a friend who that happened the other day, and there's like a major workers' comp lawsuit right now on because of somebody. Yeah, somebody left it open like during the middle of the rush, and the other bartender was like in the weeds and like didn't know and fell down it and knocked himself unconscious and like had to go to the hospital.
Damn.
Do you know who it was?
I'm not going to talk names. Also, I highly doubt that highly doubt that you guys know them.
I mean, I worked there.
There's this guy. I can't fucking remember his last name. He's like a young kid.
No, okay, I don't know.
Whatever. I've partied with him like.
Okay.
I partied with him a bunch. I know him through. He used to work at Old Town Tap, and that's how I know him. The staff at has turned over quite a bit.
That's not surprising to me at all.
No, I mean, yeah, like there's a lot of people that like hated me at periods of time. Like, um, I've actually had um Kyle and Tim have both called me and apologized to me for being like, hey, like I know I talked shit to you like many times for saying that like you don't do shit but expo, and then they like both took sous chef jobs or whatever management jobs, and they're like, I didn't realize how much shit that you had to deal with before we even fucking stepped foot in the kitchen. I'm like, yeah, motherfuckers, I was there for fucking 4 hours or 5 hours before you even fucking walked in the door. Like, yeah, I'm expoing right now, but I did all the ordering. I fucking sat down and had to do fucking stupid meetings I didn't want to do, and fucking butchered all kinds of shit and tried to like clean and fucking get this kitchen ready for service. And then you walk in the door and like, you think like I'm not doing shit? Like I fucking did a lot before you even walked in the fucking door. But now, I don't know. I mean, and now sometimes I kind of have the same shit with my fucking guys. They're they're line cooks. They're not like old school line cooks. Like when I came up, like you were a line cook, like you prepped your station, fucking worked your station. Like they want their fucking station set up completely, and they walk on the line and they cook it, and that's it, and they fucking clean, and like they're not prepping shit, and if they have to prep something, they like don't know how to do it, and like they'll be asking me in the middle of service, like, chef, I'm out of cilantro. I'm like, fucking go to the walk-in, grab fucking 4 bunches of cilantro and chop it. And then that's not the expectation. The expectation is that I'm gonna fucking do it for them.
I mean, are they not like do cooks like nowadays like not like I mean, are they working their full shifts or like or is it like shorter 6 hour shifts or it's just like longer 8 hour like only on the line shifts? I get that exists too.
No, it's because like we don't have like every cook, every line cook I have like is the wages are so low that they have to have second jobs, and so I get them after their second job. So it's summertime, it's busy, there's traffic, the bullshit. Like they're scheduled at 4, or sometimes they're not showing up till 5:15. And they've already texted me or called me and been like, I'm in traffic or blah blah blah. I'm like, what can I do? I don't. There's not a plethora of workers up here to where I can be like, yeah, okay, you're fired. I have to be like, sure, I guess I'll work the line for the next hour and a half while you show up, while we wait for you to show up, or I'll wash dishes
Yeah.
while oh, you had car problems, you're coming from Reno, like, I guess I'll cover for you.
Would you say that finding employees is still the hardest, like the biggest challenge that you face every day?
100%, 100%. And like finding like people like you and Brian that are like passionate about food, like that's like almost non-existent anymore. There's like, I think at Plumchuck, I think I like nurtured that um nurtured that type of kitchen to where people would like seek that out, and like if they were into food, they were coming there
Mm-hmm.
and wanting to work in a kitchen like that. But since I left, like they didn't like that at Shadyside.
Yeah.
No way, dude. Those guys are there just for a paycheck. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean we've talked a little bit about that and like dude, the difference between like when Ronnie and I started and like we've talked about this a little bit on the pod, but just like dude, it was like competitive, dude. If you wanted to work like the hotline, like you were going to like really have to bust your ass to like put yourself in a position where you might get a look to be the next person up to the like dining room line, right? And like even like I think like both of us like didn't start on even the bar line, right? We were both like salad cooks. Like
Yeah.
I like had a resume, like I had like education, same with Ronnie, like came up like ready to go and like was excited about food, but still like there's this like waiting, not only waiting period, but like prove it period, which like I mean, by the time I left, and now I've been out of it for, 4 years, like, but even like, not even just when I left, but before, like when I first took the sous chef job back at Plum Jacks, that was the normal. That like we had like the one girl who like was interested in food. She wasn't the most polished cook, but she at least like had some passion for food. But after that, like it got really thin really quick, and it's sad. I try to think of it as like the entire industry has made that shift. I'm not sure that that's entirely true. I mean, but like, do you have a gauge of like what it's like for other people in even bigger cities or friends that you have like in other places and stuff?
I do, and yeah, like the whole industry is kind of fucked. Like COVID ruined it, and like I don't know, like we're on what 4 years out of that right now, and like it still hasn't rebounded. Like a lot of like really nice restaurants, like Michelin star quality restaurants went out of business, and like James Beard award winning restaurants that were like super popular, but they just went under because people had to fucking find jobs. And I think COVID, like the whatever the unemployment that people were getting, they realized that like they were getting super underpaid, and they were for fucking years, and like sure we had to like change. Like when I left Plum Shack, our lead line cook was making 32. Like
Jesus.
like if he made overtime, he made more than I do. If he made double time, he was fucking raking in dough. And like that happened more often than not. It sucked, but that's what you had to pay. And like at Shady Side, they don't, and that's why I have shit cooks. Like I just have fucking guys who come in and are like robots. They're just like, oh, put this on here, put this on here, but they fuck up all the time because they don't care that much.
What do you think like the long game is? Like, so like this keeps happening, right? Like you keep hearing these stories of like, well, wages have to increase, but then like they don't. So then like cooks don't come and work at the place. So then you have like less and less qualified cooks at these places, but like never is like the demand for dining going down, right? Like that's still like, it's very much still a thing that like people want to do. When they come up from San Francisco to Lake Tahoe, for example, they like still really want to go out and eat a big meal, but like they're also not willing to pay $100 for a chicken or a steak. Like it just like isn't the reality. It's some places they are, like some like high-end steakhouses in different cities. Like of course, like you can wind up spending a lot of money, but I don't think that people are really willing to spend like even. I think like they will like turn around if they see like that the chicken's $40, but like the reality of it is like that's how much that shit costs, because you have to pay. If you want qualified work, then like you need to pay people a living wage.
I think to a certain extent you're right, but I also there's people that are beyond that proof wealthy, like, and like Plum Tracks was like getting a lot of them. Like we weren't getting the numbers that we used to, but we were still doing like 80 to 90 covers in the DR, and we were open an hour less a day, and people were dropping 60 plus bucks for steaks, and they didn't give a shit. Our number one seller besides the stupid fucking burger when I left was steak. Like we were basically a steakhouse.
Right.
I'm butchering like 2 to 3 ribeyes or New York strips a day.
So what about like the other types, like not the Plum Shacks, but like the other middle of the road restaurants that like,
well, they're
not high end, but they like now you like have to spend like it's going to be $35 for your entree. It's not a crazy like thing, but like your taco bowls, right? And you're like like you can do them as best you can, but like you're still like can only command so much dollar. I mean, people that I work with like still like are surprised that they have to spend $15 on lunch, dude. Like I'm like, to me, I'm like, you should be stoked that you are only paying $15 for this lunch, because that's like, if you want to pay people living wage, like I know we're in North Carolina, it's different than like the like minimum wage in California and all that, but like it really like you have to expect, if you're getting a prepared meal, to spend a little money. And
yeah,
I don't know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In fact, like I support that as much as I can.
I mean, I don't know. Sarah and I just went to Reno this morning, and we had breakfast and lunch, and like breakfast was $40 for the two of us, and we drank water. Like we just had 2 entrees, and then lunch we had 1 cocktail each and some chicken wings, and that was like $54.
It's okay. I mean,
like You know, that was Reno prices. Reno like is supposed to be cheaper, but is it really? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope that like we as a people like become, I don't know, either learn how to cook it yourself, or like you should be like willing to support these businesses that are like providing your meals for you, you know?
I agree, but I just think that like people aren't ready for that. Like people are fucking livid at McDonald's because McDonald's like fast food in California is $20 an hour. Like that's mandatory. $20 an hour if you're a fast food worker, unless you make bread in house. Because Gavin Newsom made it a loophole for his homie that owns Panera.
Unless you make bread in house.
If you make in-house bread, you don't have to pay your fast food workers $20 an hour.
You pay them regular
minimum.
Then you can pay them less.
Still, I mean, dude, that's so progressive compared to what we're fucking working with.
I don't understand. I don't understand that.
He claims that he missed that wording in the thing, but he also signed an NDA, and so did the people involved in it, to talk about it. Like, okay, sure, yeah, I accidentally didn't see that. If you make bread in the house, you can get away with it. Like, I think Subway can get away with it.
Dude, you got paralegals to look through that stuff. You're not even reading that stuff. You know that he knew about that.
You know he put that in there. The number one donator to his campaign donated like $5 million, and it's this dude. He owns 40 Paneras. Like, a large portion of his fucking money is coming from fucking Panera.
I would love to dig deeper into that. Like, what's the definition of even making bread in house? Like, if you have frozen like dough, is that making bread in house? Is that what it is?
And that's the thing is Panera ships their dough frozen to the individual things, and they thaw it, proof it, and bake it.
I mean, so that counts for like Subway too, right?
That counts for that counts for cooking your bread in house. Yeah, Subway is exempt too. So it's like probably Porta Subs, like a lot of like sandwich spots. But it's only if you have like 50 or more units, I think, or maybe it's 10 or more units. So like Full Belly Deli doesn't get included in that because there's only one of them, you know.
Right.
It's fucking total bullshit.
That's fucking ridiculous.
So 20 bucks. So like as an independent restaurant, I'm competing against $20 an hour minimum wage at fast food. So like dishwashers are $22 an hour starting. That's the going rate.
For sure.
So line cooks are pretty much 25 starting and going up from there.
I mean, I want people to get paid. Like, yeah. I mean, that I don't, you know.
I do too, but then you get yelled at by management for fucking having high labor costs. And you're like,
yeah,
what the fuck do you want me to do? Like, and you raise your prices, and then there's a sweet spot where if you raise your prices too much, then people stop coming. So you have to hit like that sweet spot of how high you can go before they stop coming.
Yeah.
Just be glad that you got out, like, because it's fucked.
Yeah, I still fucking miss it though.
I do too.
I mean, yeah, miss it all you want, but this industry is dying. Like, and I don't know what the solution. I know what the solution is, but it's not. People aren't gonna they're not gonna pay for it. They're gonna demand paying less money, and then they're gonna push more and more and more restaurants out.
So, like, if we were to predict what happens in 15 years from now, like, what does the landscape in Lake Tahoe look like? If let's like take a ballpark and say that there's, I have no idea, but like, let's say that there's 30 restaurants in North Lake. Like, how many exist in 10 years?
25, but every one of those restaurants is going to be like a Cisco, pull it out of the fucking bag and put it in the fryer and put it on the plate. Like, you know, like your Rosie's and your fucking Sunnyside and like what's that? Firesign, Greasy Spoons, Fireside Pizza, like the Dubliner, places like that. They're gonna survive because they're buying shit from like a mass processed food, and they can put it on the plate for a reasonable price because you don't have to be skilled to do it.
Right.
You know, like you're not fucking butchering fish. You're fucking putting frozen pre-breaded fish in the fryer and just leaving it in there till it's ready.
When I left Lulu's after COVID, you know, we started reopening. We were operating under all the restrictions or whatever. They own, I don't know if you've been to Cowboy Izakaya just down the street.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fucking awesome spot. and just adjacent to that one, they have an Italian restaurant that's been built out. It's got probably still has a sign on it that says like opening soon, but like right before COVID kicked off, they had finished building out that restaurant. All the tables and chairs and equipment, everything is in there. The restaurant is like fully ready to open. And now, what is it, 4 years later, like they still haven't opened that restaurant because they haven't been able to staff it, because he can't just hire anybody to fucking run that. He has to fucking hire skilled cooks to run that restaurant.
Yeah, no, and there's less and less and less and less of them. Like, I mean, I contemplate every day if I should leave the industry and get into something else. Like I've looked at Sierra College classes like welding or automotive repair or like heating and air conditioning or refrigeration. Like all those people are like in demand.
I do the same thing. I do it all the time.
And they make more money than I do. Like almost 25 years in the fucking industry, like executive chef, blah, blah, blah. Those guys make more money than I do and don't fucking stress out about their jobs. They work a fucking 40-hour week, or if they work overtime, whatever, like, but they fucking make like 150 grand, and like all those motherfuckers own houses. I'm fucking renting and fucking don't even make 100 grand. Like, you know, it's fucked up. Like, I would have thought by now, like I'd be comfortable, but I'm not.
Well, it's so tough too, because every year the field goalposts get moved back further and further, and it's really frustrating.
100%. Yeah, so like I get like Plumjack would give me a 4% raise, so I'd get like $3,000 or $4,000 a year like raise. That was just adjusting for fucking inflation. Like it didn't fucking,
and it's really not even keeping up.
It didn't mean I made more money. It mean that I made the same or less. Like, you know, like I was fucked. Like I left there and I thought I was doing good, but I wasn't, man. I was still paycheck to paycheck. Like, yeah, I could buy the shit that I want to, and I can like live like a decent lifestyle, but like I'd drive a used car. It's got 200,000 miles on it. I fucking rent my house. Like if my landlords raise my rent, there's only a certain rate high that I can go. I'm like, this is not market price. I'm paying $1,300 for a 1-bedroom, but that's because I don't know why my landlords are fucking doing that, because the going rate for a 1-bedroom single unit by itself house is $2,500.
Which is ultimately why I left Tahoe, because I was living in a party house and I was like, I gotta get my own space. And also Plumcheck was supposed to be torn down and rebuilt, which is ultimately
still not torn down,
which is ultimately why I left there. I mean, I felt like it was time for me to go anyway, but yeah, for the listeners, like that restaurant for years and years. When did that start? Like 2007 that they started making plans that like they were going to tear down the building and rebuild it.
It was like maybe 12 or 13, something like that. Because I didn't move back until 2008.
Okay.
And then I didn't start at Plumcheck till 2010 again.
But they kept making plans that they were going to tear down the restaurant and hotel and rebuild it, and there was going to be condos. And at this time, they had even started pre-selling condos. And then I remember there was like this like social media push from Plumjack, and they were like, fucking get your condo now. And people in the comments were like, oh yeah, right, like you're actually gonna sell them this, or you're actually gonna build them this time. And I remember the comments being like, no, really, we are. And fucking, I think it was April 1st, on April Fool's Day, they pulled the plug. And I was like, oh, this is a joke. This is fucking ridiculous.
So they still have this fucking sign up, so the planning commission sign.
Oh really?
But they had to renew all of the permits.
I'm sure.
Which probably cost like a couple $100,000 to renew them because they expire after 5 years. And after 5 years, they still hadn't done anything. But they renewed them. But I honestly, they're just wasting millions of dollars. Like the plans and all that bullshit was like $20 million. And they needed $150 million to open initially. And ain't nobody going to give them a fucking... Gordon Getty was like, I'll give you half of that. And now building prices have gone up significantly, and they can't find anybody to come up with $75 million, which is probably more like $90 million now. Like the fucking ski resort, it goes through a drought every few years, and fucking people don't come. And like the place is $2 million in the hole when I left, like $2 million in debt, and they keep running it. That's like it would be cheaper just to close that thing and like sell it.
I mean, it's still the same thing though, right? It's still like, oh, this is like the restaurant group as a whole is doing well, but then like this is our like vacation place to go up to the mountains and go skiing and like so my like kids can go and like order whatever they want from Chef Jack and like
Correct.
That's the whole reason why.
But why does the only reason why that I can figure that a group like an umbrella corporation like that it is, because it has like the wineries and the fucking clubs and the restaurant in the city and the wine store and the fucking Plump Jack Sport, etc. Like the only reason I could think that that would be okay is because one entity is bleeding money and the other entities are making so much money that that's a tax write-off to like have a $2 million loss place on your fucking in your umbrella. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Otherwise, it's just a losing entity. Sorry, are we focusing too much on that place? I don't want to like make you have to edit.
It's what we know, and it's a good story. I mean, because not a lot of people know it, and I think it's like actually like pretty compelling and like eye opening to like. I mean, it's not just Plum, right? It's not just that company. It's like these are existing all over the place, dude. We have like this anecdotal story, but like we're not the only one with this story. Like plenty of people have the same story. You know, I think it's super interesting.
But I mean, it's also, I mean, that's where we all met. Well, Brian and I met prior to that, just a season before. But I mean, that's where our story begins. The three of us together. Anyway.
Yeah, that's where the three of us together for sure. And like we spent a lot of time together. Like that was,
and there were some really great times there. You know, like I mean, well, collectively, I mean, between Brian and I together, I mean, we worked 10 years together with you.
Yeah,
roughly.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we did a lot of great things there too. Do you have any like memorable dinners or dishes or events that we did at Plump Jack together?
I mean, pig roasts were always like a memorable thing because it was like a 48-hour like onslaught, like basically, you know, coming in at the butt crack of dawn, staying up till fucking like the sun comes up, and then like getting right back up and going back into it to like serve it. Like those are gnarly. And then like,
yeah, no, the pig roast was great. The one time that you and I did it together, and then we were just like sitting at the bar drinking whiskey all night, and then like checking on the pig occasionally, and it like was like 4 o'clock in the morning pulling that thing out, and it was like Jack and I were like carrying this fucking sketchy ass pig like back into the restaurant, and like all this ripping hot grease is like sloshing around where
it's like sloshing all over. Yeah,
fucking wasted. we go and like crash in the hotel room and like set like an hour alarm. I'm gonna have to get back up to like pull.
Yeah,
the
it was
everything in the morning.
All those were memorable. I don't know if Brian was there, but do you remember that giant wedding that we had, the rehearsal dinner we had, where it was like $100K for like 350 people in like a tent outside Were either of you guys there for that?
I don't think I was there. No.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that was fucking crazy.
We had to close the restaurant. It was a rehearsal dinner, not the wedding. The rehearsal dinner, $100,000 for F&B alone, not including all the other shit that they did. They had to build a tent outside the conference center in October and then heat the thing. And it was buffet for $350. It was like they were pouring Veuve Clicquot. They went through 40 cases of Veuve Clicquot, which is like $160 a bottle. Their cost.
Dude, and how many people does the conference center hold? Because they had that.
The conference center only holds 200. That's why they had to build the tent outside.
Dude, that's nuts. It's a pretty big conference center. That's fucking.
It was rack of lamb, chicken, and salmon buffet for $350.
That's right.
Like it was gnarly. And that was like they were like, yeah, we didn't want to outshow the wedding, and the wedding was like a lakefront, and they like cut down 10 trees at $20,000 a pop, the fine, because they didn't give a fuck because they could make enough room to have 370 people there.
Dude, that's nuts.
Like,
I do remember that. That was fucking crazy.
Those ones were crazy, and then like holidays, like always remember like holiday fucking craziness, like when we were doing like the 12 days of Christmas or whatever, those menus, like
that was a good one.
Shifting the whole menus over in like one day. Those are always gnarly. Like, I don't know. And then switching back from it, like all the holidays are just like, we were like grinding through 2 weeks together of like hell.
I remember I always really liked the Easter brunches were super fun. Like the bar would make some like great cocktails. And I remember, again, I think, I forget who I was working with, but I was on the line, and
I think you and Mika did one by yourselves.
Oh yeah. I think that's right. And then, so the bar would have they'd make specialty cocktails, like breakfast cocktails. And it was like just like a really fun day. We had like, it was a whole new menu for the day. And, Stuart, the bartender, he kept bringing, like drinks back to the kitchen. And so I'm like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 cocktails, like all on my station, and then champagne or mimosas rather. And we started getting busy. I remember I like pick up my champagne glass and I throw it back like as water, just simply because I was thirsty. And then halfway through the shift, I realized that I'm fucking hammered, but we were still slanging food. And dude, those brunches, they were so good. They were always a lot of fun. I remember you did that corned beef hash, where we cured the corned beef. Like that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And the house-made English muffins too.
Yeah. Just like doing something creative for breakfast was, nobody does that shit, like everyone does, everyone does the same greasy spoon bullshit. Like nobody does creative shit unless you're in like a big city, like big foodie city, like New York, San Francisco, Chicago, like LA, New Orleans. I'm sure that like a lot of their breakfast places are doing like fun, esoteric, cool shit, but no fucking place in Tahoe is. They're just fucking doing the basic same shit as everybody else is. Like, maybe they'll make a twist on a Benedict, but like, oh, they put sausage on it instead of fucking Canadian bacon. Cool, it's totally different.
You remember the Four Roses bourbon dinner we did?
Oh yeah, that was fun. I think I got blacked out during that one.
The whole dining room got blacked out. I was telling Brian about because it was like a 5-course dinner, and the bar sent every patron out a whole cocktail, so 5 cocktails, like with 5 courses. And by like the 3rd course, like you would go out in the dining room, and like from inside the kitchen, like the cooks, we could all hear the dining room like hooting and hollering. Everybody was screaming back there. Like, dude, the guests were having a great time. Like all the guests in there were fucking wasted. It was so funny.
I think you could even do flights during that on top of it. So you were getting like a flight of the bourbons and then the cocktails. Like, and I remember Chad and Danny McKay were totally blacked out at the table, like screaming like really inappropriate shit out when I would like come out to like introduce the dish.
That's so awesome.
I'm sure. I mean, most patrons aren't their typical dinner. They're not throwing back 5 cocktails, like that's enough to get most people blacked out. So, but yeah, that was a fun one. But the one dish that stood out to me the most, because it was A, hilarious, but B, it was very delicious, was the 4 chicken skins that we sent out on the plate.
Dude, those were they were the biggest pain in the ass prep. Like, you had to blanch the chicken skins and then scrape the fat off of the bottom of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like little pieces, like this big around would be like a big piece.
Yeah.
And we got 40 pounds of it.
Yeah. Do you remember the box it came in?
Yeah. That was like fucking 3,000 pieces in that thing. We had to scrape each one individually with like a fucking paring knife or boning knife. Yeah. But they were so good. It was like
very good.
It was like crack, dude. Fuck chicharrones or pig skins. Ain't as good as fucking fried motherfucking chicken skins.
They're so good, Brian. This case, we ordered a case of chicken skin, which none of us knew you could do that until that moment. What we didn't know is that it came in a frozen, the box was like the size of like the blocks they built the pyramids with, and it was just frozen chicken skins all in like this fucking giant block. And we opened it up. It had been in the walk-in for a couple days, and we opened it up. It was like, oh no, and they were just still frozen together. It was like, so we were just like scraping off what we could from like the surface of this thing.
And it wasn't in like a vac sealed thing, so you couldn't like submerge it in water,
It's the bag, right? Like the same thing that like the thighs come in, kind of,
like
is what I'm
taped
picturing.
up at the top.
It's just like a fucking like trash bag. Yeah, like cool. I mean, I think it would have taken like a week in the walk-in to fucking thaw that thing out.
Yeah, dude, that was super gnarly. Super gnarly.
I had those one time at Husk Restaurant.
I've been there. Husk in Charleston?
Yeah, Husk in Charleston.
Yeah.
They had fried chicken skins with like a hot honey drizzle on it, and it was like the greatest thing I'd had. And when like we ate the first round, or we ate the round of them, and then the server came back to like clear it, and I was like, another round.
Yeah.
We're taking one more of that. And he's like, okay. And I was like, I don't know, man. That was the best thing I've ever put in my mouth. He's like, we get that. We get that a lot. I'm like,
because it's so simple too. It's just the fried chicken skins, and then I think it was like Tabasco, lemon, and honey, right? Like it was so simple.
Yeah.
And it was just, those were crack. Those are so fucking good.
I feel like you skipped past the
and also it was hilarious saying 4 skins.
I feel like you skipped past the punchline of 4 chicken skins on a plate going out to a table is a plate of 4 skins.
I mean, yeah, like, maybe we should have gone out dressed as like a rabbi and like and here are your chicken skins. I don't know if that wasn't a good
I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
Okay.
Should we get into like why we call this podcast Whipped Cream Salmon? I mean, Jack, honestly, like, this story better than anyone else. I think why we call this podcast Whipped Cream Salmon. But
yeah,
when you saw the podcast name, did you know it immediately?
100%, dude. That's why I was like, this is amazing that they called it that. I mean, like, if you know the story, you're like, oh man, that's so fucking stupid. But
we almost called it saffron rice pizza.
Oh, I mean, I made some pretty bad family meal pizzas before. Like, I did one with like salmon scrap, and then like, no, people don't want that shit on their pizza. Like, gross. And maybe not even the freshest salmon scrap, so it was even grosser.
They never are.
No, but whipped cream salmon came from, what was it? It was like an orientation, like a winter orientation, and came in to like say her little due diligence, and she doesn't know shit about what's going on, so she just spouts off bullshit. I think she's like some of our presidents, like, and just spouts out things that come off the top of her head that maybe she shouldn't fucking say. I'm not gonna name names. I'm not gonna get political, but yeah. So anyway, she was like, yeah. So the customer is always right. So if they were like request that they want whipped cream on their salmon, then fucking we're gonna put whipped cream on their salmon. And I was like, I think we were all like horrified that she said that. We're like, what the fuck? I'm not gonna put whipped cream on somebody's salmon. And then like, I think I might have gotten stoned that night and like came home and like thought about it for a while, and I was like, well, we could put like, what was it, like a wasabi cream or something like that?
Yeah, we did like wasabi whipped cream on the
salmon, and like it was pretty popular. Like people were into it.
Yeah, she'd tell this story every year, right? I mean, every year that I was there, I would get orientation. Would come in and do her speech, and she would tell this whipped cream salmon story every single time. And all of us we laugh about it throughout the year. It was like always a constant like inside joke at the restaurant, but like, I don't know, a little bit of like the customer's always right, which is like kind of the fun way to look, or like the nice way to look at it. The other way is just like,
the customer is not always right.
Fuck this shit, dude. The customer is always an idiot sometimes.
The customer is almost always wrong. Like they have no idea, and then they like modify a dish, and then they get it, and then they complain about it because they're like, this is dry, or this doesn't have any flavor. Motherfucker, you took 3 of the ingredients off of it. Like, yeah, you got meat and potatoes, and like you couldn't even cook it. We couldn't even cook it in butter because you're fucking dairy free or whatever. Like, you know, you fucked the dish up, and now you're pissed off about it. Fuck off.
You ordered a well done steak with no sauce.
Yeah,
but I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, like, yeah, it's gonna be dry as fuck.
Oh man,
so good.
That was good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks for telling that.
Yeah, should we get into our idiot sandwiches of the week?
Hell yeah, let's get into it.
What are you? Idiot! You stupid idiot! I'm an idiot sandwich!
You're an idiot! Of all the idiots, you stand alone.
You want to kick us off?
Yeah, I got one. It's kind of mild, but you know this one. You know this one, Ronnie. So we were up at the Ark, the Gold Coast Lodge.
Okay.
And we had this kid, Johnny, who was working there. And this kid is, it's just like everyone that comes and works at the lodge, kind of like whatever, space case, but like also it's just like there to shred, right? There's like want to snowboard and wants to fucking make whatever money, but enough to pay like their rent, whether it's in the house with 6 people or like pay the hostel to like stay there, right? And I mean, it's always common in a kitchen that you're gonna like bet someone to do something stupid. And we had an ice bath, and we were cooling down some soups, and I'm like Johnny, $5. You could stick your head under that ice bath for 30 seconds. He's like, oh, I could fucking do that for $5 for sure, right? He like goes over to the ice bath, sticks his head under the water, 5 seconds, comes up for air. Fuck. I could not do it. Johnny, dude, $20. All you have to do, put your head under that water for 25 seconds. That's it, dude. 25 seconds. Goes back over to the ice bath. Arms on the side of the sink. Head down. Another 5 seconds. Comes back up.
And he kept getting all like super pumped too. He was like getting all worked up like he was gonna do it.
And he was fired.
It was like the second his head hit the water, he was like struggling to keep himself down. Like pulled his head
I mean, ice baths are crazy. Like the whole cold plunge
super cold
that everyone's into. It's like,
but it's particularly your head. Your head is like something different. So
your head, like you lose 60 or 70% of your heat through your head. So like I'm assuming that like your head has a lot of like your brain produces a lot of energy, which like that's why your head like is hotter. Like,
yeah.
Your brain is constantly going.
And there's something about like your body not being in it, but your head being in it that just makes it even crazier, right? So yeah, one last time I was like, and now we're like escalating this thing, and I was like, no, he can't do it. He hasn't got past 6 seconds yet, right? So we get together and we're like Johnny, $50 this time. All you got to do, 15 seconds. That's it. 15 seconds. Kid never got past 6 seconds. Dude, he was out for air every time, and we got a lot of laughs out of that. So, Johnny, congratulations, Idiot Sandwich of the Week.
Good job, Johnny. You failed, but it was entertaining. So I got one from Plum Check, and I'm curious if you remember this. At the end of the night, all the cooks would put their knives and their spoons by the prep sink, and then it was typically whoever finished up cleaning first would scrub everyone's knives and stuff. And Brian and I I can't remember if you were scrubbing the knives or if I was scrubbing the knives, and inverse, one of us was standing there talking to the other. And the way I remember it, though, you were scrubbing the knives, and I'm looking at you, and I'm facing towards the back door, and all of a sudden, this is in Lake Tahoe, and all of a sudden, a fucking bear walks into the kitchen.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Oh, I think I do.
Yeah.
Is this when Elisa kicked the bear?
Yes.
Yeah.
So fucking a bear walks into the kitchen, and I'm like, oh, Brian. And he was like, what? And he turns around, and we're like, oh, fuck. And there's a bear in the kitchen. And the bear grabs the trash can, and at first he's like got his head in there, and he's like pulling stuff out. And we're all fucking start yelling at it, and we're throwing pots and pans and banging pots and pans, and he won't leave. And the thing pulls the trash can over, and he's got his head in the trash can, and he's fucking like pulling out trash. And one of the servers, Elisa, comes back there, and she is not a big person.
No,
she's like, guys, he starts yelling at us. Guys, what are you doing? You got to get him out of here. And she runs up to the bear with his head in the trash can, and she kicks the trash can, and the bear gets scared and runs away. And so I'm giving my idiot sandwich to that dumbass bear that got scared by
Fuck
Elisa.
that bear. Fuck that bear.
we nicknamed the bear Jeremy, and because Jeremy's nickname was Jer Bear, and so we nicknamed the bear Jeremy because we thought that's what Elisa did when Jeremy would come in wasted, drunk, and do dumb shit. She would like come kick him in the head and be like, "Get out of here! What the fuck are you doing?"
Jeremy and Elisa are a couple, or they are a couple, and so it was funny because the days after we'd be like, "Did you hear Jeremy was fucking digging around in the trash can, and Elisa came and kicked him in the head." We were like, "What?"
Congratulations, Jeremy.
to Jeremy the bear. To Jeremy the bear. I think that my idiot sandwich would be, we had a salted caramel creme brulee on the menu.
Yeah.
You guys will probably remember this. And so like, you sprinkle sugar on top of the creme brulee, and then you just hit it with a blowtorch to brulee it to make the crispy top of it. And some server rang in creme brulee. It was a salted caramel creme brulee. Server rang in salted caramel creme brulee, no salt. And I was like, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" I'm like, ask for the server. You guys remember?
Mm-hmm.
And he comes back, and we're like, "Gee, it's salted caramel creme brulee. We can't do no salt." He's like, "No, the shit you sprinkle on the top of it." And I was like, "What do you think that is?" He's like, "It's salt, right?" I was like, "No, dog. Like that's sugar. So you know how you'd have to like be the temperature of the sun to melt salt on top of it." He's like, "Oh, so you can't do it without salt? And I was like, no, dude, no. And he was like so confused. And then he ended up being like a pastry assistant at Plum
He
Jack.
did?
Like, yeah. He was like one of John Howard's like fucking, or was it John Howard? Or was it?
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah, this is after I had left the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, one of his assistants. Oh my god, dude, I could go into like fucking hour-long conversation about.
Yeah, he was the
guy.
sous as I entered, right? Or was that right?
He was the pastry chef, which had like a sous management salary thing.
Yeah. Well, because Mike was the pastry chef when I got there, but I think he was in the kitchen before I got there.
So you weren't there for the whole incident? Oh no, you weren't, because you moved into his apartment.
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't there for the thing?
I wasn't there for that either. Really quick. Idiot sandwich. There you go.
What's up, y'all? Future editing Brian here. Just wanted to let y'all know that this next part is super edited. A lot of little pieces that are beeped out, mostly names. So just wanted to apologize about that, but thought that the story was good enough to leave it in. But yeah, enjoy the rest of the episode. Peace.
Oh man!
All right, let's hear the incident.
He is divorced and he moved in a Plum Jack house, and it's supposed to be temporary, and then he's there for like 5 years. Like, I moved out of the spot, or I got evicted out of the spot, and then he moved in, and it was supposed to be temporary. Didn't seem like he was trying to go anywhere. He was shit server, just wasted all the time, like just not a good person to deal with, but he was the head server and he'd been there forever, and he fucking flexed his weight on that. But he started dating this chick that he met on Tinder or some online dating thing, and she was kind of psycho. And I remember I was actually at Drunken Monkey with Elisa and some other people, and we saw her first date, like, randomly, like, and he like came up and introduced this girl, and we're like, oh cool, dating, like, great for him, maybe he won't be such a dick. And so anyway, they started dating, maybe like a couple dates into it. She comes over to his house. She like puts some clothes in his closet, and then puts some groceries in his refrigerator, and like kept this receipt. And then they get in a fight, him and this girl, and like, to where it's like they're both drunk, but like acting aggressively, so she calls the cops. Well, doesn't know this, and he's like, well, yeah, the cops come. Like, they're like, they in a domestic dispute or violence thing, they have to arrest somebody, and like, it doesn't matter, they're going to arrest somebody if there's like something like that going on, because otherwise, if they leave the two people there, like, somebody could actually get like killed, and it's like they're liable for that, so they have to arrest somebody and take them out of the situation. Anyway, gets heated and is like, this woman doesn't live here, blah blah blah. And this chick knew the law, and she fucking busted out this receipt for her fucking groceries, and she's like, look in the fridge. And they look in the fridge, and they're all in the fucking fridge. And she's like, look in the closet, I have clothes in there. Boom, she has clothes in there. Even though she's not on a lease, she has squatters' rights, and they can't kick her out. And so then who's living across the hallway hears all this shit going on, because the Plum Jack house, you know how tiny that hallway is. He hears all this shit going on, and he's wasted in his apartment. And he comes out, and they're arresting and like going to take him to jail, and drunk as shit starts kind of getting in the officer's face and being like, you can't arrest him, he lives here, this is bullshit, blah blah blah. And like, I learned one major thing with police officers. You don't fucking you do whatever they fucking say, and you might be able to get away with some shit. If you get in their face and are fucking bad, they're gonna arrest you one way or another. Like, they don't give a shit, and they will find a way, and it'll happen.
Yeah.
So you just say yes sir, no sir. But was talking shit. He's already in cuffs. He's gone to jail. Starts talking shit to the cops. He gets arrested. So, and these guys are talking shit to the cops. So the cops are like, fuck them. We're taking him to Auburn. Auburn. Isn't that where
Yeah.
We're going to take him to Auburn from Squaw Valley. Well, guess what weekend this is? 4th of fucking July weekend. So we lose our pastry chef and our head server on 4th of July weekend. So they go down there, and then like I remember there's so much shit about this. Taryn from front desk, her and her boyfriend were going 4-wheeling like down on the Rubicon. Like, they're redneck as shit. They go fucking 4-wheeling all the time. And they see and on the corner out by the 20 going to Grass Valley, Nevada City, hitchhiking to try to get back up on 4th of July. Is at High Sierra, probably faced out of his mind, like, you know, like listening to fucking hippie music and doing like all kinds of fucking party supplies. And he's getting phone calls from not only the police department, but from Jeremy because this woman won't vacate the premise and they can't do anything about it. And he wants Steve to come up and fix the situation. It's like, I'm at High Sierra, motherfucker. This is my weekend. This is my weekend that I do every year. And like, dude, I mean, it was like a fucking. He told me so much later. He's like, dude, I was frying my tits off, and Jeremy and the police, the head of the fucking Placer County Police Department, are calling me nonstop. Like, it took 10 days before they got that bitch out of there. She was in there for 10 fucking days and had to live in the hotel.
I mean, that's crazy. It's honestly like surprising that it only took that long because like you said, like squatters' rights, dude, once you like establish residency, like people can stay for like a extended long period of time.
They can stay for, I think it's like 90 days. Like,
yeah, for sure. You have to get like fully evicted, which means like you have to go to the courthouse and you have to like establish that this person isn't supposed to live here, and you have to get a court order and you have to like serve that person and like all the things. It's wild.
There was some people, I guess they like in LA, like I saw some shit. They like fucking broke into a house in the Hollywood Hills and fucking made a fake lease agreement and fucking just started living in this fucking mansion. And we're having like raging parties, and the neighbors are like, these people are squatting, and they 100% were. They were living in like a fucking $20 million mansion overlooking all of fucking LA and just like squatting in it. And they were like graffitiing the place, and like you could see the parties are like naked chicks out on the deck, like raging parties like every night. And they did it for like months and months and months, like pretty much destroyed this mansion.
It's crazy. It's so crazy.
I mean, that would be sweet. Like in my younger years, like I might have been like, I'm down with that, but you know, I don't want to go to jail now.
That's fucking wild. That is so crazy.
Great. Well, and with that, yeah, that's a great story.
Oh man,
I think that brings us to the end of the episode. Thanks so much, Jack, for being with us for this. This was so much fun.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you guys ever want me on again, I'm down. Like, I love recanting these old tales.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah, and I feel like we really just scratched the surface too. There's like a lot of things that I wanted to talk about that we didn't even get close to. So we'll definitely have you on again for sure.
That was great. But yeah, for everyone listening, thanks for listening. And you know, Jack, do you have anything like that people should follow or anything like that, or Instagram stuff? Don't care.
No, I mean, I'm trying to like work on that. Like, that's definitely a thing I want to do, is like an Insta or like a YouTube channel. And that's like, well, I have this light ring, and I've been just like working on my outdoor kitchen, but I don't think I'm going to get it done by summer's end. And I don't know. It's a work in progress, but I'd like to be more involved in in internet stuff.
Cool.
And maybe work my way out of a restaurant kitchen.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, when you do, we'll shout you out and let us know. But other than that, yeah, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Aren't you supposed to say something like and subscribe or something like that?
Like, subscribe,
Stay
follow,
creamy.
and stay creamy, y'all.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you guys.
Later.